Before we begin, if it is your first time making animations, I recommend doing original manga panels that are just black and white first before trying colored. The apps we are going to use: Ibis Paint X, Alight Motion, Wink optional.
In Ibis Paint, make a new project and click your image. Put the background to the black grid and start erasing the background. Take your time with this part. Duplicate the layer. Go to the second layer and erase the head. This includes any hair, pretty much anything attached to the head we erase, but don't erase the neck. Now go back to the first layer and do the opposite. Erase the body, leaving just the head. This makes it seem less overwhelming and helps organization. Now add a layer underneath layer 1 and begin mapping out / filling in the empty areas. Also, I just want to say that I am self-taught with animation, so there might be better / easier ways to do them. This is how I taught myself to do them, but you might find ways that work better for you. I am also constantly finding new techniques, so already a few of my tutorials are updated, but I promise to remake them ASAP. This part is kinda a guessing game, just mess around till it looks right to you. Now go back to the body layer and make the filled part more seamless. I use erase, color, and blur for this process. Once it's somewhat fixed up, merge the two layers and continue to clean it up. This is where the tool blur is used. Continue to use color and blur till you get the result you want. Now we are going to take a break from the body and start the eyes. Click on layer 2, the head layer, and duplicate it. Click the eye symbol on the original layer, making it invisible. On that duplicated layer, erase all but the eyes. Use Alpha Lock to clean up if needed. Once you're happy, save them to your camera roll using the selection layer. Draw over the part you want to save, click the arrow at the bottom right, click Save Image, make sure Transparent is turned on, then Save. Make sure both eyes are separately saved. Move eye layer to the bottom, clicking the eye to make it invisible. Now click Add Layer and start drawing the white parts of the eye. Use the layer underneath as a guide so you don't draw over the edge of the face. Once you have this mask-looking blob, make the head layer invisible and save the blob the same way we did the eyes. Delete the blob layer and go back to the head layer and erase inside the eye. If your image has an open mouth, erase that area as well. Duplicate the head layer and erase the head, leaving the hair. Use Alpha Lock and fix any imperfections using coloring and blur. Go back to the original head layer and do opposite. Erase the hair. Add a layer underneath the face layer and do what we did to the clothes. You can use this special tool so help adjust the shape. Just like the clothes, once you've planned out the colors, merge the layers and continue to color and blur. This part is just a lot of repairing, so I sped it up long, but this took my 30 minutes so. Once you've gotten to a point you're happy with, make the face layer invisible. Go to the hair layer and duplicate. If the hair has accessories or shine, use the selection layer and save them to camera roll. For the back of the hair, color bangs / the front of the character's hair to make the back of the hair. Then save image. Back to the bangs. Now you can cover the accessories or shine. Once you are happy with the bangs / hair, save in as many parts as you wish. I did 3 parts, one for the main bangs and the other 2 for Hinata side framing bangs. Move hair layers to the bottom and make invisible. Duplicate the body layer and erase the clothing, leaving only the neck. Go back to the original layer and erase the neck. Make the clothing layer invisible and add a new layer underneath the neck layer, then start to repair the neck. I'm not sure how to explain this part, just make it look necky. You can use Alpha Lock to help with outlines. Once the shape and colors are mapped out, merge the layers and start blending and adding lines if your image has them. The lines don't have to be perfect since they are mostly hidden in the result. Save to camera roll. Make neck layer invisible and move to bottom, then click OM clothing layer and duplicate it. Make one of the clothing layers invisible. Click the visible layer and erase any clothing behind the neck area. Now back the other layer visible and make the back of the clothing scene behind the character's neck. Just repeat past steps, color, blurred, till you're happy. Do some other final cleanups, save to camera roll. Once you have finished the body/clothing, well, move on to the blinking. Have only the face layer visible. Go to the selection layer and select eyebrows, nose, and any other lines that shouldn't move. With those selected, go back to the face layer. Click the dotted square and then copy this, makes the eyebrows and etc. a separate layer. Now you can cancel the selection and cover the things on the face layer that is now on the new layer. Basically, we just repeat the same steps as before. Once you move something to a new layer, you erase that something on the original. Now when you make the eyebrows and etc. layer visible, the face looks normal. Make the eyebrows and etc. layer invisible and duplicate the main face layer. Make all but the duplicated face layer invisible and start erasing. Erase everything that won't move. Keep just the eyelids and, optional, the mouth. Make that layer invisible and go back to the main face layer and color over the eyelids, leaving just some of the eyelashes behind. Make a new layer underneath and color it blue or green. Go to the middle layer, the one with the eyelids and, optional, mouth. Use the special tool and use the crescent moon, drag, and start dragging the eyelids down. Keep clicking the strength next to the eraser to see if it looks like blinking and fix till you're satisfied. Screen record you moving the strength bar in a blinking motion. Since each image is different, you might have to do more or less of these steps. Here are some very simplified steps. Separate each part of image into separate layers: face, body/clothes, neck, hair, accessories on and etc. Repair each layer. Fill in the missing parts. Now with everything saved, we can move to a light motion. Pick a ratio that fits your image and choose frame rate and a blue or green background. Start by adding your image and lowering the opacity to 30 to 40%. Drag your image to the length you want your animation to be. You can now start adding your animation pieces. I start with the small details like eyes and accessories. The image will help you put everything in the correct spot. Bring the layers all the way to the end. Now continue to put your other animation parts. For the face video, crop it before putting it into a light motion. Use the Chrome key and select the background. Mess around with the setting until it is as clean as possible. Continue to add your images, organize them, and place them in their correct spots until your image looks complete. Again, make sure they go to the very end. Now add shadows. You can do this after or skip this part if you wish. Now I have Alight Motion Pro, so I do use this tool for this next step. If you don't have Pro, I am not sure if you can use the tool by watching an ad. If you cannot use the tool, don't worry, you'll just have to do some extra steps. If you cannot use the tool, skip this step. Make the hair layers, eyes attached to the face layer. You can now move all those layers when you move the face layer. Since Hinata here has bangs, I group them all together and then add the effect bend found in distortion/warp. Sleeked the origin that moves the bottom of the hair. Put a keyframe at the start and one at the end. At the start keyframe, make the hair face the left/right and have the ending keyframe make it the opposite direction. Go to graphs and select the wavy one and adjust it to your liking. Continue to add shadows. You can also add shadows by duplicating the layers and using the solid color found in the color/light, making it black, adjusting the opacity and adding blur. Add the bend effect to all hair pieces. Copy, then pasting the graph you used on the first piece so all the layers movements line up. If you use the Connecting Layers tool, make sure all hair pieces/shadows are attached to the face layer. This next step is optional. I click the eye iris layer and add the effect Random Displacement found in Move/Transform. Now we can start adding movement. Click THR head layer and go to Move/Transform, Rotation, and add a keyframe at the start and end of layer. Use the same graph we use for the hair and adjust to liking. If you can't use the Connecting Layers tool, then you'll just have to move each layer one by one to match up with each other. If you have the Connecting Layers tool available, then attach the body layers together, including the neck. You can now add movement to the body. I make the layers go up and down slightly to replicate breathing. I also add slight rotation just for some extra movement. Again, if you don't have the Connecting Layers tool, you'll have to move each layer individually and line them up. Once I finish the animation, I group the whole thing together and make sure it'll in frame properly. Depending on the amount of layers you have, you might have to repeat these steps more or less times, but I hope this gives you an overall idea on how to animate. Now lastly, we can use the app Wink. Wink is a mobile app that upscales video quality. Open Wink and click the image quality and select your animation video. Once it's done upscaling, we are finished. Here is the final result. Once you find this easy to do, you can apply this tutorial to harder animations. Sorry if this tutorial was hard to follow. I tried all my best to explain. If you have any confusion, please leave a comment and I'll try my best to help you out. Again, I highly recommend messing around with animation and to experiment with it like I did, as you'll pick up things that work for you. Anyways, that's all for this tutorial. Hope it helped at least a little, and sorry for its delay. Goodbye, smiley face.